we keep going on talking about textile and talking about creation and craft, because the next subject we have is a discussion with 3 students, 2 graduates and 1 student still, of the MFA Textiles of the New School. 5 years ago, I was invited by the New School Parsons to come to New York and to create a department of hybrid design. And so we created many different ideas, and the one who came really to fruition was this idea of making a new textile masters, which was really missing in the education of that institute, in many institutes actually, because it was often closed down by, in many cases in Europe, because it was no longer popular, but now it's making an incredible comeback. Actually, we felt in the students' behavior that there was this need for tactility and creation of the textiles again. What we did in this case is that we made a very interesting new course, which is hybrid, because it tries to bring together Silicon Valley and Hudson Valley. It tries to bring together high tech and slow craft. And indeed, it is happening that we see biotech becoming macrame. So it's really interesting to see that it no longer looks like itself and that categories are blending. And so we sought to sort of inspire you today that we would bring to the fore 3 of these students. They are all educated by our amazing faculty, which is led by Preti Gopinath. She is the leader of our pack. She is a fantastic, inspiring person and designer, textile designer herself. So I would like to start with Jacob Olmedo. Jacob, can you come on screen?
Yes, let me see here.
Hi, Jacob.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm going to share my screen.
Still alive and safe. Jacob has been a very important student in our course. He has done an amazing graduation. He has been praised, I think, by many, and his role in the future will become very important, we feel. Amongst other things, you're going to do a residence, I think, at the Met Museum, right?
Yes, in the beginning of February.
That's very cool. That will bring you in touch with so many people. So I choose you really because I wanted to discuss your philosophy of how you are integrating the different aspects of our current society, with migration, with you being queer, with you being concerned with our planet and ecology, and you have somehow woven and knitted all these ideas into one body of work. And I think it's very interesting, especially because this morning I was very moved by this idea that the women who were shipped to America to become slaves were hiding the seeds in their hair, in the braids. Mm-hmm. I mean, how incredible is that? How, with what foresight they came to this new country. And it reminds me of your work with the seed included in your work. So it's a beautiful sort of metaphor of what you do as well. So take us through your work.
Yeah, so my name is Jacob. Thank you for having me. I'm just going to go quickly through my work because I don't have a lot of time, but I make work exploring how my queer and Latinx identity creates a diverse American narrative in the context to the climate crisis and my own lived circumstances, to the intersection of labor, value, and culture where textiles reside. I am introducing hybrid craft and visions of queer futures that change the way that we can care and repair for each other and for our environment. I look about how privilege is distributed in America, and that's studied through material dialogue, depicted with new sculpture forms and familiar wearables with deep research into material and fiber. A new tomorrow, different from the world we lived in today, is explored through textile making processes and its ability to adapt and transform while being an intuitive vehicle for just human expression. And so this theme of hope, all of these complex things, especially in the context of America today, I think are very relevant in every way. A project that I've been working on titled Your Land is Our Land is a project that is exploring how we take back systematically destroyed soil and create new frontiers through textile making and tradition for those underrepresented. When I started this project, I was looking at soil that is damaged and can no longer grow anything, and how we can actually repair that, and came to the realization that that was a practice and that soil is now gone because of colonial practices of people coming here and doing what they wanted to do with the soil instead of listening to the people who had the knowledge and wisdom to tell them how the soil needs to be worked with. But I was also looking at my Latinx identity and looking at, traditional Native American crafts, and was looking at beads and these seed beads and how these crafts were also a colonialized craft, and how I wanted to kind of like take them back together through textile making and new material ideas. And so what I ended up doing was looking at materials, and I found this new biodegradable material called isomalt, which is a beet root sugar. And I started making my own beads and redesigning these beads to take on different structures, while also injecting them with seeds. And these seeds were a huge point of research in terms of how you can actually repair land with perennial prairies and different ways of going about it in that context, and how we can actually grow new textiles through these perennial prairies as well. And so the idea was, in this project specifically, was looking at nature as a privilege in America to those most fortunate or who are given the privilege through birth, and also looking at nature as the ultimate commonality between all people. And when we look at nature, we think of seeds, and seeds would be, kind of this like a mecca of privilege. And so when I was making this project, which was extremely time consuming and like labor intensive project, making it with my hands that are minority queer bodied hands, I wanted to create these suits of armor that go on minority bodies that hold all of this power within the seeds themselves and the beads. And so I ended up using crocheting technique to crochet each one together. I used this map over here telling me what beads were being put where, and just started creating this imagery of this oneness between bead making through soil regeneration, and just, creating a future that is like completely queer, completely different from what we would think a new future would look like. And so that's kind of like this root of my practice kind of shown in this project, is that it's material study, it's, critical but hopeful. And I find hope through a hybrid living. I find hope through my hybrid identity and hybrid making. And I find hope through allowing myself to not ask for permission to create a new future that I want to see in the world. And so that is kind of the basis of my work.
Thank you so much, Jacob. It's very impressive. This is the first time I see you not dressed in white.
My nails are white though.
For all these years. I wish you an enormous, beautiful residence, and of course we'll be in touch, but I'm sure that will bring you new opportunities in this amazing body of work. Can we now talk to Liu Xu? Can you come online? I haven't seen you come.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, you're there. Great to see you.
Yeah, me too.
So we would like, you have done so much beautiful work, but we want to focus. We have only 5 minutes. So
Okay,
could you share with us the Onion project?
Yes,
because it
yes.
has a nice video also.
Yes. Wait. Wait. Desktop. Wait. It asked me to get the access. Okay.
Ragnar, is there access already?
Yes, yes, Liz has access. She has everything.
Mhm.
Can you see now?
No.
Okay, yeah. Can you see now?
Yes, but only, yes. Maybe you have to talk first about it?
Yes. Hello, I'm Liu Xu. It's so nice to meet you all today. And actually, I see my mom is also here. Hi, Mom. Thank you to bring me to this world. And thank you, Lee, to bring me to this forum. And it's so honored to be here. And today I will share 2 performance videos of my textile works. And the first one named Yingyun, Layers of Onions. So let's start. So it's a body of work dyed solely using onion skins. Yingyun in Chinese is used to describe the feeling of being enshrouded. And echoing the way onion skins cover each other layer by layer, I developed this set of onion skin dyed garments, creating pleats and applying ornaments like laser cut pieces. That represented the onion cells under the microscope. Some of the silhouette of the garment were inspired by ancient Chinese layered costumes, as in the Tang Dynasty. I also create this short film to show the intimate process of how traditional costumes were slowly layered, dressing myself with the handmade pieces to create my own ritual in the Yingyun way. So all these are dyed with only the onion skins with different mordants.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And the second will be my graduation work, Wandering Home. Oh, sorry.
You don't need to explain.
It's from the video.
Okay.
Wait, can you hear the video's voice?
No.
No? Okay. What should I do? Because it has
Just
voice.
why don't you Why don't you talk us a little bit about what we're seeing, because that's more interesting.
Okay, yes.
You don't have, yeah, just
Okay, from here.
about the composition and the idea.
Yes. Mm. Mm.
These textiles are all made out of very small flower patterns.
Yes.
Which you have been laser cutting and dyeing in all different natural dyes. So it's a very intricate textile, right?
Yeah, I use all kinds of textile techniques as ways to like illustrate and to demonstrate my dreams, like living like a wanderer. And I'm sorry. So I begin by creating watercolor paintings to get the colors and then do nature dye. And then laser cut them into small flowers, and then creating woven and knitting fabrics from this to make ribbons and silk threads, and to imitating my watercolor paintings. And the fabrics are designed to cover the tent structure, to leave weaving, or alternatively live on our bodies as a set of garments. And the disabled and joint bamboo structures will be the basic form. And I combined beading and lighting to illuminate this wandering home and transforming into accessories for the same set of garments. The items are able to be used in these two ways to celebrate the preference of elders, which make full use of everything. And this project, Wandering Home, is inspired by the lifestyles and old tales of a kind of elderly wanderers, which have habits of collecting things as they wander and creating their own art world by using whatever they find around them. This project is about getting inspiration from those romantic aging wanderers who live without limit of age, but with the wisdom and open-mindedness from it.
Well, thank you for complimenting old people. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you so much. I would like now to, I hope you will have a good trip to China. Be careful.
Yeah, thank you.
Shadha, can you come online? Shadha Koshar?
Hi.
Hi. You're in New York, right? Not in New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you have 5 minutes, darling? We are stretched for time.
Okay.
Please give us the essence of your story of the Khadi.
Right. Hi, everybody. I'm Shadha. I'm originally from Delhi, India, and I'm currently undertaking my master's in textiles at Parsons. To just briefly take you through my work Matter and Memory sort of revolves around building alternative ecosystems and practices essentially driven by radical indigenism and sort of local wisdom, essentially focusing and sort of investigating resources that have been lost and sort of born out of colonialization in India, like Khadi, which is essentially a self-reliant practice of sort of equitable and self-reliant textile making. And this miracle sort of fiber, which is Kala cotton, which essentially is inherently sustainable and organic because it just does not need any sort of artificial irrigation, and it sustains completely on sort of rainwater. And I essentially look at these two systems that have existed in our heritage sort of, and seeing it as sort of a solution for climate change, social inequity, soil depletion, and sort of water shortage issues. Sort of, I think the questions that I found myself asking a lot are sort of why lean on the current system of cotton farming and textile making that not only harm the environment, but also strip farmers of their agency. And the second question essentially was, why depend on GMO seeds and foreign seeds that are simply not compatible with the land? Instead, must we be looking towards sort of reviving regenerative indigenous varieties of crop? So just to give you a little brief about the fiber that I work with is called Kala cotton. Essentially what it is it does not need any pesticides or insecticides. It grows almost like a weed. So really tapping onto these local resources that we've lost in colonialization to sort of be the answer for the future. And to just give you a little brief about Khadi as a system, it was integral in the civil disobedience movement in India, wherein it was coined by Gandhi, and essentially the practice said that we must like spin our own fibers and sort of like weave our own fibers into textiles instead of sort of buying these foreign goods made in Manchester. So I think that really stuck with me the past 4 years and took me to a journey of sort of spinning fiber in a more sort of performative space as well. So people in New York may not have seen me around the city in concrete spaces and public spaces, spinning Kala cotton on my little peti charkha, which is my spinning wheel, sort of to start these conversations around where truly our textiles come from, which is they come from the soil, which come from this fiber, and sort of breaking that disassociation that we have between clothes that we wear and where they come from. And also another question I think that I find myself asking is how we connected through these relationships that we share with the soil and fiber through generations immemorial. There's trauma, there's happiness, there's collective sort of memories involved in these fibers essentially. And what I do with my work is sort of take this practice of Khadi and sort of interrogate how it is relevant and how as a system it's so relevant today, and it sort of demands its revival and its sort of mass movement. It needs to be a mass movement essentially again. So looking at sort of the work in terms of the body, the environment, the objects that sort of surround us every day as vessels of self-reliance and change, and sort of looking towards a speculative future for now, a world that's decolonized, a world that sort of is a completely new universe. And also, I think with the pandemic, a lot of the thoughts were, can this body be a vessel for self-reliance? Can we create textiles? Can we grow textiles through our sort of body and the environment and the objects that surround us? This is essentially a piece that I made, which is called In and Out. And sort of the thoughts that were kind of going through my head was to create this environment when people could feel safe. And people could sort of enter and exit when they feel sort of comfortable to do so. This is essentially a speculative sort of design for a chair, how we may sit, how we may interact with objects, objects that are more precious, essentially. Looking at fashion, alternative fashion, essentially, wherein we're thinking about handmade textiles. We're thinking about really knowing what we're working with from seed to stitch. These are all sort of hand knit and hand spun again throughout these last 2 years. Some more sort of works. This is called Through You, Through Me. And again, sort of a speculative or sort of a counter to how we dress today. Will that change if we sort of like identify with this new model of living? So yeah, I hope I kept it brief.
Very beautifully and brief, and incredibly strong the way you bring the indigenous yarns back to the fore. I'm very hopeful, as everybody can understand, because I'm working with students like this. You know, when I'm surrounded by these new generations, which take our future into their hands, I am quite confident that we have turned a page, and therefore I also call them the new generation. They are going to define who we are in the years to come. Thank you very much, the three of you.